Hey everyone, Dr. Aruna from Psychiatry 2.0 and Trinergy Health. I'm so excited to share with you Aubrey and her journey with us and her journey in her life. It's actually a remarkable story of determination, perseverance, grit, confidence in her own self and her intuition. Aubrey, take it away.
Yeah, so without further ado, I guess.
Yes.
So I, 4 years ago, had my first and only daughter, Sage. And what turned out to be a very joyous experience, giving birth to her, ended up pretty traumatic. I ended up being diagnosed 2 weeks after with postpartum psychosis.
First time. No prior psychiatric history.
No history that we know of at all. So was hospitalized for that. Inpatient, and went through Western medicine, and that round was given all the drugs to treat
the isolation and the separation from the baby. I mean, trauma after trauma. That first experience,
yeah. So was hospitalized and taken away from my baby, actually, 2 weeks after of giving birth to her.
Yeah.
A really traumatic experience, and ended up recovering after 4 months of being medicated, and was fully off of pills at that time.
You were completely off of the pills at that time?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was because who was helping you with the taper and all that then?
The hospital that I was.
Okay. So they treated you for that episode, and then you were able to come off of the medications. Then what happened?
Then fast forward, still dealing with that trauma, knowing that it was pretty traumatic, being taken away from my baby at that point, and coming back from it, not knowing really what happened to me at that point. Kind of numbed the pain just by not talking about it, I guess. And forgetting that it was even there. To find out, fast forward like a year after having COVID, and had the Delta variant, which pretty much rocked my world. They gave me prednisone for that, and come to find out prednisone causes psychosis.
Psychosis, yes, yeah.
So ended up going into a COVID-induced psychosis at that time from taking prednisone. This time around, did not know where it came from, was pretty shocked that I was even going through it again. I wasn't inpatient at that time. Everything was done outpatient, but was given all the same drugs. But this time around was pretty heavily medicated.
And what was the diagnosis they were giving you?
COVID-induced psychosis.
COVID-induced. And the first one was postpartum psychosis, and then COVID-induced psychosis.
Yes.
Usually by then, the diagnosis of bipolar or schizophrenia sometimes gets thrown around if there is more than one episode.
Yes, so bipolar is what they were throwing around at that time.
Okay.
I didn't really know what I didn't know at that time, but knew in my intuition and in my gut that something else had to be done. That something else was wrong. There was a root cause to all of this. So fast forward about 5 months into my treatment of getting, pushed with all these drugs. The drugs were not working. It started reversing effects on my system. So I would have panic attacks like sometimes 5 in a day, where I just couldn't handle being alive at that point. Suicidal ideation.
Which never before you were
Never.
Yeah.
Never ever. And really just didn't find the point of living at this point.
And to give a bit of a background, you actually come from a very loving family.
Yes.
Usual ups and downs, but you were always able to rely on your parents and siblings, and then now your husband and even in-laws. You have the supports. It wasn't like something else was going on that's triggering all of these things, and so it was like your intuition was pointing out. It was something that everybody was missing that was making these things happen. It was not so much really what was happening in your life that was causing these things. It was something more biological, more metabolic, maybe.
Yes.
What's going on? Yeah.
Yes, and we knew that kind of firsthand. So I started sharing my experiences with my mom and my mother-in-law, and then QN meeting you.
And your mom is a holistic pharmacist.
My mom, yes.
Yeah. So that was a big help. Yeah.
It was a huge help, and we ended up finding Dr. Tamala, and the rest is history from there.
Our future.
Yes, our future. But ended up finding you and your practice, and it was a godsend for me.
Thank you.
So, truly saved my life. Ended up within 14 days on your protocol, my brain fog was going away. My panic attacks were minimizing. We started decreasing the medication safely. And titrating from that.
Yeah. To give an example, I remember you came in with your husband, and he was there because you couldn't focus, you couldn't concentrate, you couldn't remember. And I could see, you're 32 years old, raising a daughter, in the prime, should be in the prime of your health. You're a dancer. You're somebody that takes care of yourself and your family, and you were working, but you were on medical leave at that time because you couldn't work with all these things. The brain fog especially, and the fatigue and the panic attacks had really made you disabled. And what was striking to me was to see that you couldn't understand the conversation that we were having, and you would frequently turn to your husband and you'd say, you would like, what's that? That's the memory I have of our first appointment. And your husband, he's been a great support, and he was like translating, he was explaining, and that I don't know if you recall that. But then, like you said, within 2 weeks. So message for everyone listening here, no matter how sick you are, the moment we start providing what your body needs and removing what's causing it harm, your system will start to respond. And another point I want to make to everyone here is that never ever stop or even attempt taper of your psychiatric medications especially, or even medications like antacids, without first addressing the core physiological root causes. And it doesn't take long. 2 to 3 weeks is usually the turnaround time that we see with many of our patients. Usually there's a people report that 30 to 40% improvement in symptoms. And I wait. Every person is different. I do wait to see when is the right time. It's a very individualized and personalized decision, even on my part, as to when I start the taper and how quickly or how slowly we do it. It's a thoughtful process that happens, there's no cookie cutter way of going about it. So I just wanted to kind of say that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So I started to respond, and it gave me hope, because I was in a very dark spot. I felt very lost prior to meeting you. And then also Dr. Smella, I would like to point out, she incorporates nutrition, which I've always been a healthy eater, but that was a big component of your program, to incorporate holistically.
Talk about your root causes. It's different for everyone. So what were your root causes?
Yeah, so root causes meaning what?
So we found that your primary root cause was your mold.
Yes.
And possibly any contribution from the TBI, the head injury that you've had. Those were the two things that we... Plus your double methylation polymorphisms.
Yeah, I would say first to start off with is you addressed my genes to get tested for those, to get a baseline of, where I'm at, where my ecosystem is at.
Yes.
So we found out that I was positive for both MTF-HR genetics, which means I just don't methylate properly without supplementation.
But without methylation, methylation is very important for regeneration of cells. So anytime, anywhere in your body, a cell is dividing into two daughter cells, then we need those methylation genes and the folate vitamin and the B12 vitamin. So think about where all your skin is regenerating every 4 to 6 weeks. Literally every organ in the body, your blood cells, your gut lining, respiratory lining, genitourinary lining, your immune system. Many of the cells of the immune system are replaced every 60 to 90 to 120 days. So anywhere there is the cell division and regeneration and rebirth happening, we need methylation. And so as you can imagine, when this important process is getting interfered with, those are the organs and those are the systems where we can find methylation defects manifesting as diseases. Plus, it's also responsible for detoxification. So typically when you have MTHFR polymorphisms, that's why we call it the mother effer gene. There's a reason for that, because you can get migraine headaches, you can get every single psychiatric illness from autism to schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, addictions too have been associated with methylation gene polymorphisms. Then you can get all autoimmune diseases, from multiple sclerosis to ulcerative colitis to Goodpasture syndrome, which is a kidney disease. All autoimmunity is associated with it. Irritable bowel syndrome, acne, acid reflux, what else? Infertility, polycystic ovarian disease, Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, which also, I think because of your gene, both of them being defective, you were simply accumulating all of these things, and your body was slowly not able to find its balance anymore.
Right.
So MTHFR, finding about methylation gene polymorphisms, and the fix is so easy. It's about epigenetics, right? What input we are giving. So it was about cleaning up your lifestyle even more, your diet and the products and everything that you were using, giving you the methylated B vitamins and enhancing your detoxification pathways.
Exactly.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
But the complexity, and it wasn't that it was, nowhere did I think that, oh, this is such a serious situation. No. It's just that we had to look at the thyroid, we had to look at the gut, we had to look at the brain, we had to look at the immune system. That's it. Which, by the way, is usual for many, many patients. Unless it's somebody, I don't know, I can't even say. I usually find that mental illnesses don't just happen out of the blue. Multiple organ systems are involved.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But it's not that I have to give you a separate treatment for thyroid, another one for your mental health, another one for your mold. No, it's just one protocol. One protocol. We are addressing the core pathways that maintain health. That's all we do.
Yeah.
So simple, isn't it?
Yes.
It is very simple.
It is. But looking back 4 years ago, it wasn't that simple to me.
Yeah.
You feel kind of lost and without hope. But knowing that there is a resource like you out there, that is just in my backyard, to tap into. I've always been a very health conscious person, and ate the right things, exercised, very active.
And faith too.
Yes, faith is a huge component in my life as well.
So we're doing all the right things, and it was not your fault. It was and this is the thing, we could be doing the right things, but sadly, our lifestyle, or not even lifestyle, it's the environment, the food that we are given to consume, the media that we are given to consume, the air we breathe, the products we use. This is where we are getting the toxins from. That's where we're getting the toxins from.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anybody's fault here. It was just that the ingredients came together because of how polluted we have become as a society.
Yes, unfortunately.
That's a big, yeah. And mold, all of these things, these are just environmental, and mold also has a right to live. If the conditions come right, your mold is going to grow wherever. But our systems are not able to handle the same level of mold exposure that our ancestors were able to.
Right.
Because we are already inflamed and we are nutritionally deficient.
Yeah.
And we are dealing with a lot of toxic burden already.
Yeah, and my mold poisoning actually happened 12 years prior. I was introduced to a specific strand of mold in an apartment building, and did not do a specific protocol for it. So fast forward, meeting you, we did a test for that and found out I had actually 4 different strands. And I'm holding on to some mold. But with the treatment, it's detoxing.
Yes, yeah.
So.
And the star of all of, you've been great with the diet, with the supplements, with everything, cleaning up, and with your home, your products, all of that. And your health has responded in that manner.
Yeah.
And now, but especially for the mold toxin, there was a time where even I was like, we need to do something else. What is that something else? And out of the blue, I was invited to a naturopathic conference, my first ever naturopathic conference, and I'm so glad I attended this one, where I might butcher this doctor's name, but if I remember correctly, it was Dr. Rostenberg from Idaho. He was talking about mold toxicity and coffee enemas. And so came back enthusiastic. What's the downside? I researched, found that coffee enemas are very, very safe. They've been used for hundreds of years, especially in naturopathic medicine. And not only does it enhance your own glutathione production, the master detoxifying molecule, but it can balance the microbiome. It can detox hormones as well as heavy metals, parasites, and it is a really good stimulant of the parasympathetic system. Yes. Who would have thought, right? You drink coffee, you get a panic attack, but you drink coffee the other way, it actually relaxes and balances your parasympathetic nervous system.
Yes.
So after coming back from that conference, I thought that it was kind of the God sent to some of the questions I was having in situations like yours. And that was, your bloating went away.
Yes.
And we were also doing the taper protocol as well. So the taper process has gone very smoothly, and energy is back, no fatigue, sleep, almost all parameters have improved.
Yes, immensely.
Yeah.
Immensely. And with the coffee enema too, I'm just finding like mental clarity is there as well. I feel lighter, and it's just given me a lot of hope as well. So it's an easy resource to add to the toolbox that you can do alongside of your protocol as well.
Yeah,
and just helps.
Yeah, and so. I think what's left is the Panchakarma detox.
Yes.
That's one thing and maybe the hyperbarics, we'll see whether that would be. That I was thinking of hyperbarics primarily because of the TBI.
Yes.
But I don't know that you may need it or not. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But the coffee enemas, that's something that you can do on your own, and everything else. And I will, for sure, many of the supplements that you're taking, as your body heals, you will not be on these supplements, except for you will have to take the methylated B vitamins and N-acetylcysteine. As we discussed, you don't need the glutathione anymore because you're making it. Just make sure that you're getting those sulfur-rich veggies so that your body has the raw materials to make the glutathione.
Yes.
So your supplement regimen also will simplify. It'll only be to support your health.
Which I would like to highlight. I feel like a lot of people, being very health conscious myself, I always supplemented.
Correct.
But it was kind of a shot in the dark. I didn't know what I was working with. I thought I was doing the right things, but now knowing my genes, I know where exactly
what you
to
should
fit
take.
the puzzle.
Correct. Yeah. And in today's world, I mean, I also have the methylation gene polymorphisms, and I take methylated B vitamins, vitamin D, and I also supplement with either glutathione or N-acetylcysteine. So those, I mean, I think in today's world, it's kind of a must, I want to say. And anything, if when I travel, my bowels don't become so regular. So that's when I definitely make it a point to either have Motility Pro from orthomolecular or castor oil to keep myself. That's very important. Bowel movements are very important. One more thing, your Hashimoto's is also on the mend.
It is. Antibodies are going down significantly. So that was definitely a promise of yours, which was very exciting because those of you who have Hashimoto's, it's not very fun when you're losing hair and gaining weight and all the things.
And the thyroid supplements that they give, the Synthroid or the levothyroxine that is given, that's not the only problem with Hashimoto's. The problem actually is the immune system dysregulation.
Which they tell you it's typically a thyroid disorder, but really it's an immune system disorder.
Immune system disorder, Yeah, I mean, sadly, if you were to go to your endocrinologist even today and ask, okay, my antibodies are elevated, what can I do? Oh, just take this levothyroxine. That's all you can do. No, we have to work towards bringing the immune system into balance, which is address the diet, trauma, and toxins. That's it. Give what your system needs and remove what's causing harm. Provide the good, remove the bad. Doesn't get any more simpler than this. And thyroid is such an important issue. Like my patient right before you today, another patient with schizophrenia, and she didn't have any Hashimoto's or anything, but because of the psych meds, she had put on a lot of weight and her metabolism had gone down. I still have to understand exactly why her thyroid was not functioning. I don't know the answer to that. And so she was on 150 micrograms of Synthroid. But with my protocol, she lost a ton of weight, and we were able to get her off the Latuda is the medication she's on. And she lost almost 60 pounds. And then I saw again, she was again becoming psychotic. But because of having worked with patients with thyroid issues, I immediately knew it was to do with her thyroid hormone. She did not need the levothyroxine anymore. So I said, go back to your primary care. The primary care was, oh no, this is because you are reducing the Latuda. That's why she's becoming psychotic again. So this time, again, she's disabled on Medicare and Medicaid, and the mom is the caregiver. So the mom actually conspired with me. I'm a co-conspirator in this. We decided not to tell the primary care, but to cut down the dose of the thyroid medication to a quarter. So since October of last year, this young woman, based on my recommendation, has been receiving about 35 to 50 micrograms of the thyroid medicine, and her psychosis is gone. And I repeated the blood work. Her thyroid levels are all normal. TSH, free T3, free T4, total T3, total T4, everything is normal. And so now I've told the mom, take this to your doctor and tell them that the psychosis was being triggered by the excess thyroid hormone that was being prescribed.
Yes.
So let's educate everyone, and there's a better way to mental health. I think that's the big message. And so now let me ask you this: do you have bipolar disorder? No.
I do not.
No. It was a condition that resulted because of all the factors that went into it. So no diagnostic label is a permanent label.
Yes.
It's a description of a state.
Yeah. And the symptoms that I was experiencing.
Exactly.
That in Western medicine, they would tell you it's not reversible.
Yeah.
And this is just your lot in life.
Yeah.
But there's always a better way.
Yeah. So are you going to get another episode?
No.
And if you do?
I have the resources in play.
Actually, you know what to do.
Yeah.
You know what to do to prevent them from happening.
Yeah.
And even if it did, you know what to do and
Yeah.
how to get out of it.
Exactly.
Really enjoyed this.
I did too.
I hope you guys did too.
Bye-bye.
Comments or questions, feel free to drop them below and I will respond to them